Hey, whoa. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Oh, yo. Came up from the struggle, now we stacking chips. Black Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich. Doni Glover Show, watch us shift the switch. Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. Talking black excellence, ain't no exclusivity. History is making, reclaiming our divinity. Break by break, rebuilding our community. Doni Glover Show, celebrate unity. Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. From the boardroom to the streets, we making waves. Business minds running, new paths paved. Politicians listen, they know we the brave. Black Wall Street dreams rising from the grave. Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the
we have some stars in the building.
Doni Glover Show by BMORnews.com. Oh yo, oh yo, oh yo, yo.
We'd like to welcome you to BMORnews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Special thank you to our executive producer of BMOR News in Niagara, Mr. Emmanuel Price. We're up here this is the New York side, and that's the Canadian side, and we will be there for the New Year's dropping of the ball or somewhere around here. Very beautiful Niagara Falls, some of the best water in the world. So make sure you get out, get your passport, and do some traveling. And keep watching BMORnews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Welcome to BMORnews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Here on Atlantic, Mississippi, with our very dear friend Corey Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Keep watching BMORnews.com. We're going to give you an update. 10 years since Katrina. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. I want to start this off by saying that with the video, with the interview I did with Mike Lane, Native Black American, I learned a lot, and I am always open to new information. If you can teach me something, teach me. I have no problem learning. And some new information came to me that I just didn't know. I hadn't ever really considered a Americentric perspective. And that's just being honest. For most of my life, I've had an Afrocentric perspective. I don't know about you. I can't speak for you, but I know the books I've read, and including this one here, Pan-Africanism. That's just been a part of how I was raised. The books I read, the people I was exposed to, from Du Bois to J.A. Rogers to Marcus Garvey. And so I posed a question to you. I'm going to bring on a very dear friend. Indigenous, MOOR, Hebrew Israelite, where do we go from here? So here to discuss this, and us as a people, is longtime compadre Robert Scott. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Good.
I'm hanging in there.
Robbie and I go back, over 40 years, Robbie.
Easily.
Yeah. What comes to your mind when you see this topic?
I call it ABA sometimes we get to the point where, because of what we've been through in this world, Black people will try to be anything but African, plain and simple. I mean, if we just went by DNA and look where all the DNA points, or just look at the map. I'm looking at a map right now, and how all of these countries, or all of these continents have broken off from a moored Africa. You know, when I say moored, I mean they say it's stuck to the core of the earth, and Africa's not moving. It's the other continents moving away from Africa, and they've broken off. The origin is there. When you look at the mineral wealth, it's incredible. If the Congo did what Burkina Faso did, the Congo would be one of the top richest countries in the world, top 5 richest countries in the world, because then they would be in control of the coltan and everything else that's coming from there. Right now, they're not even getting taxes on that. It's a shame. And, you know, I hate to be so African centric when we're trying to talk about the Americas, but we can just look. All you got to do is dig in the ground. The Americas, when you dig in the ground, yes, you find African artifacts. And you find the artifacts that were left by the Native Americans that came over from Siberia. But when you talk about the center of the world, the core, where everything comes from, where we all come from, to be considered human, you have to be African. To be
So,
considered Homo sapiens sapien, full, 100%. We're 100% Homo sapiens sapien, and we come from Africa. Now, we probably also are indigenous to the Americas as well. The reason why they can support, and I get this from my guy Neil deGrasse Tyson. The reason why they can support the notion of continental divide is because you see the same fossils from one coast to the other. And it's not from the last 500 years. It's from thousands of years ago. So that proves it. And then we can see that it all fits and all, but it's moving away from the source. So if there were people there in Africa at the time, I mean, in the Americas at the time, no people population grew out of it. That's original. The only people population that we can say is original would be the Black people. The oldest people that we know coming from there are the Olmec. It's the Olmecs, and the Olmecs are Africans. But the Olmecs traveled to America from Africa across that water. Now, I'm not trying to knock anything that they say and how they feel, especially the ones that are Native American and African, and they're trying to come from that perspective. But to just separate yourself from the African cosmology, that's
so this is 2025, and thank you
yes.
for the comments. I want you to see some of the comments that have gone up. You were talking, and I don't want you to get blindsided, but as long as we keep it respectful, man, we can talk about anything. I mean, we can talk about whatever. It's just for me, you know. So here we go. Let's go through them. It wasn't called Africa back. That wasn't the first one. This is the first one.
What does it say?
I got these. Well, they just come out when I do this show. Over 96% of the DNA of so-called African Americans is actually indigenous to America, according to the CDC.
Really? They would have to show me that. They would be introducing me to something new.
And
Because
I'm
90%, I mean, just
96,
think about it.
96%
96%.
of the DNA of so-called African. But let me tell you why I personally can appreciate this, because when I heard Skip Gates, man, I got a mean moth or something flying around like a
Oh,
damn
I was just
rat.
about to quote Gates in the
But
opposite direction, but go ahead.
yes, he's all the way saying 2 to 3%. 2 to 3% of Black people in America are indigenous, and I don't want to mess up the name. I'll say Hodge Life says 96%, all the way in the other direction. And so I can appreciate that reverse perspective. Brand new to me, totally brand new. But it's an old conversation. We're late to the party. That's what I
Well,
understand.
I tell you this. First of all, before I really, that's why I'm not going to really attack it, because you'd have to show me that.
Okay,
Show me that. You'd have to show me that.
Okay, here's some more from Hodge Life. Africa is yet to cultivate.
I didn't see proof.
Okay, point taken. Africa has yet to cultivate their land. And I'm so glad you finally here, Robbie. You know, I've been waiting at least a week for this. The world did not originate in desolate Africa. That's such an old trope. Okay, here's Jose.
Whoa. Stop right there.
Hold tight. Let me give you some more. It's a bunch of them. If you do that.
What does he know that's older than Zimbabwe?
Okay, calm down. I don't want you to get upset.
Oh my God.
But I definitely needed some help. Because we're fair. We're open-minded. What proof is there that the Olmecs were from Africa? And I would say the physical features, the nose, the lips,
yes,
the braided hair. And the fact that we don't have much more than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
In terms of
didn't have much more than that.
Cultural evidence. And I would imagine, just like in Africa, a lot of things were destroyed.
Here's the rest of the evidence. The peoples of the Americas.
So here's the
natives saying that Africans have been coming across the water for millennia. That's what they told Columbus.
And the currents that come from West Africa straight into South America.
Straight into South America.
Here we go. Here's a younger brother, I presume. The older generations will not relearn anything. I just said to you, I am open to new information.
I'm open to. That's why I said you got to show me.
So, you know, come on. And are stuck in an educational system. If that's the language you choose to use, we didn't even make up.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, we had that education, and then we went outside of that education and re-educated ourselves.
We didn't get that in school.
Everything we talking about, we didn't get in school.
Yeah.
At all.
Here we go. Africans are not us, and we are not them.
Oh, that's crazy. My God. Do you know that you can have a person to carry your DNA who lives in Baltimore and meet another person that carries your DNA that lives in Brazil? Then meet another one that carries your DNA that lives in Colombia. We were taken from that place and we went to a whole bunch of places. The whole idea was to mix us up.
And let me just say, we are not here to disrespect anyone and
at all.
And it's got Josu. I don't want to Rizzo. In no way are we trying to disrespect
at all. I would like to hear this. I would like to hear the viewpoints and hear the proof.
Well, I'm getting ready to share something. So that's Hodge Life. Let me give you Mr. Rizzo, and I presume it's a man. What proof is there that the Olmecs were from Africa? Here's the second question. I am Mexican, and it's disrespectful that Black Americans want to hijack Mexican history and culture. No disrespect, but I'm entitled to my opinion as well. Africans are not us. Here goes Zulu.
Hold on, wait a minute. Stop that. Stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. The Olmecs predate them coming across the Straits of Gibraltar. Not Gibraltar. What's it? The Bering Straits. Them coming across the Bering Straits and peopling the Americas.
Well,
Africans have been coming across the Atlantic since before the migration.
Well, actually, they found a black woman's bones in Brazil that were 12,000 years old. Luzia, Luzia. Here's some more stuff. Our genealogy go back thousands of years in the Americas. And if we are from Africa, why don't they come to America looking for their ancestors?
Oh, come on, man. Some of the questions don't even make sense. I want intelligence. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to respond to anything that doesn't really make sense.
How's life? You're going to have to show some, send me a link or something. And then here you go, Mr. Rizzo. That's because blacks from Africa mixed with natives after they were brought here, not because 2% natives were of black color. Well, Mr. Rizzo, I want you to look up Luzia, Luzia. So blacks were definitely in the Americas 12,000 years ago, and I think that's old enough to be indigenous. Highs like blackberries, peaches, cherries, apples, and countless other fruits and veggies originated here in the Americas. And their point is they are indigenous to America. They can be found in other parts of the world, but that they come from here. I think that's the point. The most fertile land on the planet, southern belt of America. Many would agree with you. We got Mr. Great Cleaners pushing Dr. Runoko Rashidi. And of course, he has the picture of him beside the Olmec heads, and he certainly believes that they.
Absolutely.
So we have some wonderful comments. Our ability to trace DNA is less than 100 years old. Agreed. Genealogy is over 1,000 years old. Well, according to what records? Genealogy is actually as old as mankind, right? If it's the study of genealogy, truth of the matter is we've been studying it as long as there have been people.
Right.
So if you're talking about,
and you can just look at somebody's facial features and say he comes from those two parents. That's genealogy. We're not necessarily breaking it down to the scientific aspect of it because it has progressed. Now we're down into looking at the actual DNA. We weren't doing that early on in genealogy, but we're to that point now.
Rob, I'm working to pull up something for you. Well, she never wants to act right. Let me give you some, at least it's civil tonight. I have one of your favorite pictures, Rob.
What's that?
Oh, just bear with me. There you go.
Yes. One of the three original people. This could be a combination of two of them. I gotta look back, and I know the picture. I know where it came from. I can go look at it. But that's a picture of the San Bushmen, a family, a father, a daughter, and a son. San. There were three that are still on Earth today that are considered the three oldest. They have the oldest DNA. The San Bushmen, the Khoi, and the Twa. The Twa was the one I couldn't think of the last time I was on. But the Twa or the Batwa, you can find them in Rwanda. They are the Pygmies. You know, they're the oldest people on Earth. Now, the picture that you have there, that's either the San or a mixture of the Khoikhoi and the San, Khoisan. You have a lot of Khoisan, I guess, compounds in Southern Africa, but you do still have just San. Khoikhoi, I would imagine you may still have Khoikhoi, but I know Khoisan and San are definitely there, and I've seen them.
You know, one of the things, Rob, that you have shared is that in their face. Now we talk now. Let me just say, I'm a journalist. I write books. I do research. I write books. I'm not at all claiming to be some genealogy expert. We're merely raising questions, and we're trying to come to some consensus. This is what I know. This is what I really know. If four of us are in a car and we going down North Avenue, when they pull you over, they're not asking you your genealogy. That's America. They treating you like a black man in a car. That's how I know. From what I've seen.
Yes.
So we got to be careful not as to ostracize ourselves from the larger struggle, because the people who have been out here fighting for black people for years, Harriet Tubman, I don't know that she was checking people's lineage or DNA or genealogy. She was helping to free people who were trying to be free. So, you know, we got to be careful how far we go with some things, because it's starting to defy common sense. Anyway,
Agreed.
their eyes, you said
in their faces, you can see the features of everybody on the face of the earth. The slanted eyes of Asian people. You can see
all
the
this
high
time
cheekbones.
we've been saying, now this is one thing I've learned from you, is that all this time we have been calling people with those kind of eyes Asian eyes. I'm sure we said something more representative of where we came from. But the point is, we have associated those eyes with Chinese people.
Right.
When if these people right here have the oldest DNA, then Chinese people have their eyes.
Right. Well, and you don't even have to argue it. The foremost Chinese geneticist, you can Google him, you can pull him up on YouTube. To prove that they weren't from the San, that they had evolved on their own, he did a test, the DNA test, checked their DNA. Just like everybody else on the face of the earth, they wind up having X amount of percentage, 2-3%, just like all white people have, of sub-Saharan African. We got it. Everybody on the face of the earth carry the DNA or the genetic marker of the San Bushman, the Khoisan, or the Twa, or a combination of all three. Black people usually have all three. Everybody on the face of the earth. The Asians got their eyes from the San. Plain and simple. And look at the San's complexion. They're from Southern Africa. They have a light brown skin, and their skin will darken. There are San people that are dark.
So it's interesting how we also associate Africa with the darkest hue, when if this is in fact the oldest DNA, isn't that amazing?
Man, I tell you something that's even more amazing. They have 200,000 years of history. Ask them. The Twa do too. The Twa have definitely over 100,000 years of history.
All right, Robert.
Way different than what we've ever heard.
Let me give you some of your comments, Robbie. We got to catch up. Mr. Great Cleaners, there goes Zulu. you have to live past the 60s. It's 2025, and there's a multitude of information available, and our elders are living in the past. Now, I mean, that's the second time
I'm on all the new stuff. Come on now, please.
Okay,
What's
most of y'all
supposedly
grew up
new? The
with
America
grandparents.
thing?
Most
You
of
got
y'all
to
grew up
prove
with grandparents who were Indian. Yes. My grandmother, my great grandmother was Blackfoot Indian. Yes. What changed? Nothing changed.
Right. Guess what? My on my father's side, my grandmother,
You
Sue.
don't see Black Hispanics saying they got Black features. Only Blacks in the USA have this narrative. Hey, Mr. Rizzo, don't blame me for American racism. Don't blame me for it, buddy.
Right.
Don't blame me for surviving terrorist attacks. Don't blame me for being a member of a group of people who have been assassinated, tortured.
Yes.
Don't blame me, buddy. You're pointing that part at the wrong person.
And let's pull it all together. Let's pull it all together to
Black
include
Hispanics.
all of us.
My problem is United States Americans trying to tell us Mexicans our history. Mr. Rizzo, are you aware of your Black president that you had in Mexico?
Mr. Guerrero. His name was Guerrero.
Are you aware of Chief John Horse, who
as a matter of fact, was Guerrero one of the first presidents in Mexico? How's that go?
Yeah.
One of the first presidents in Mexico was a Black man. And let's be honest, we do have Black Mexicans. There have been people that went to Mexico and have lived in Mexico and have always been there.
So
let's be honest. What we call indigenous, we know when they came into the Americas. So they're not indigenous to this country. Let's be honest. If anybody's going to be indigenous, it's the ones who came here first.
Source up.
Give us proof, because all the proof out there lets you know that in the Americas, you guys came right after the last mini ice age. When that land bridge got you across and then froze back over. There's a video that I share all the time. It's called Shajir, The Journey of Man, a Genetic Odyssey. One of the foremost geneticists in the world. His name is Spencer Wells. He worked with Luca Kavorka. That's the guy who actually did the DNA pull from everybody on every continent of the world. That video is very easy to get to, YouTube. I'm talking about today's technology. What is he going to try to do, call us old? Are we just talking about the old stuff? Bring your new stuff to the table. We're not talking conspiracy theories. You got to come up with scientific proof. Let Mr. DeGrasse, go to Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let him go pull it up and give you the actual background on how people this earth, how this earth was peopled. It was peopled from Africa out.
Let me say this.
Anybody who thinks any other way.
Let me say this to Mr. Rizzo, that we are all, in a sense, pawns, if not manipulated by the information that we receive, because it's often censored. The things that we really all want to know, we might not ever get it. So yes, we do have to dig, but it's more than just a DNA test. We know that there are people who don't want true history out there. And I'm not afraid of it. I'd love to learn. But you also got to remember, you, Mr. Rizzo, are just as contaminated in terms of information as are we. I don't believe much of anything from a lot of the sources that are out there. I don't know, that's just me.
Ask
When
Mr.
you look at
Rizzo.
that track record, if a people go to a land only to take, that's who they are. And I see so much has been taken from different people that we've all been robbed. We've all been shortchanged. So we're just having a discussion. We're not pointing fingers, and we can stay civil and we can talk about this as long as you like. Now you're throwing in the light skin thing. That's some Willie Lynch, ain't it? They look like any old light-skinned black people in churches on Sunday. Thunder, that's something you only hear in the United States. In Mexico, Mexicans don't say that because
we
the
come
native
in every flavor.
have
I
those
have
same
a sister.
features.
My two sisters look alike. One is dark skinned. One is not. They call her Lucy. She got red hair, and they look just alike.
Well, this is
Black
true.
people
Paul.
can make everything. Everybody.
That's true. I
make-
agree. They do look like anybody.
We make every complexion.
Nah, you ain't gonna tell me them those old McHeads are anything but black. I mean, you see the braids? You see the
Hold on,
afro?
wait a minute. What indigenous person looks like that? Like those statues?
Who rocking the braids?
Yeah, and who's rocking the braids? And how long have those heads been there? That's the thing.
Dreads don't mean they were of African descent.
Oh my God. Look, everybody comes from us. Mr. Mexican, you come from us. Everybody descended from Africa. You are just a change
Well, let's
happened as a result of climate change. All these races happened happened off of migrations, climate change, and extremes, climate extremes, dietary extremes. We are all the same people.
No, hold up. So how do you validate DNA over genealogy, which is an older science, and you don't have to entertain ignorant questions? I don't think questions are ignorant, but this is why your generation keeps losing the ear. I don't necessarily agree with that part, Zulu. I think society and the way technology and everybody, we all got our heads in our phones.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Oh,
Why
let
is
me
Zulu using a name from back in the day?
It's okay, Robbie.
Why
it's
is
okay.
Zulu using some newfangled name?
It's okay.
Okay.
We do listen to young people, Zulu, and it is very important that we do a better job. It's also important that the young generation show some respect.
And have the
I
right,
do not
have
have
their
all of the
information
answers,
right.
but I'm not quite convinced that you have all of the answers. I've never met anyone actually who has all of the answers. A lot of the answers are from people that I got. Those people are dead and gone. I wish they were here. If they were alive, I would never say some of these things. I would find a different way to say it. My skin thick enough, but I think one of the things that my generation failed to pass on, we wanted so hard to give the next generation, our children, our grandchildren, we wanted to give them, many of us wanted to give them things that we didn't have. But there were lessons learned from not having. Nowadays, a young person may want a $200 belt, and that's not unfathomable. My mother would say, you want it, you go work for it. But that's not the case now. Now is you want it, the parent will buy it for you because, or like the parent giving a child a ride. In Baltimore, and I get it, a lot of people do not let their children catch the bus. This man and I Grew up catching the bus, catching the train. Wasn't nobody giving us a ride. You want to get there, you had to walk or catch the bus, period. Your generation, with all due respect, has been shielded from that because it's a different day and time. But one thing is universal, and that's just basic respect. So as long as we can be respectful, Robbie, I defer to you.
I was just sitting there listening to you. Well, I will accept anything they have to say, but you have to bring empirical proof. I'm with it. But conspiracy theories, because you heard somebody say something, look at
when the police pull you over, they're not asking what tribe you from.
But look at what we got now.
You black.
But look at what we got now. Look at the populations of the earth right now. The Americas barely have 1 billion people in it. And I'm talking about from top to bottom. North America has 520 million people in it. South America, which has 366 million people in it. North America, I'm talking the United States, Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean, barely have 520 million people. They got phones in front of them. Go ahead and Google me. You barely got 366 million people in the Americas, period. Period. But when you look at Africa, you got 1.3 billion people on the continent of Africa, and they've been killing those people left and right. It's been genocide in Africa for years, but they got 1.3 billion people in Africa. Europe only has 744 million people in Europe. But Asia, 4.5 billion people in Asia. 1.4 billion people in China, 1.4 billion people in India. And you're talking the Americas is the origin? No. There are some people that are black that are indigenous to the Americas. I wouldn't question that. First thing I'm going to say is I think Boubacar made it and did well over here. That's the person who gave the wealth to Mansa Musa. Boubacar came over here with thousands of people, big time gold, money, seeds from America and seeds from Africa, and all that went to the Americas. Yes, I'm quite sure he was in the Americas. I'm quite sure there were black people of African descent in the Americas. I wouldn't doubt that at all, but that's not the origin. That's far, far off from being the origin. Maybe the origin for some, but we're on every continent on the earth. Call us negritos. We're on every continent. During the last mini ice age, we migrated out of Africa, going east. And we were migrating out of Africa because there was a mini ice age going on, and we were following the animals. And all the animals were doing was coming out of the south, coming out of the north, coming to the equator. They came to the equator, and they were moving around the equator. So coming from Africa, they went east around the equator. And that's how we started peopling India.
Zulu, you can't blame me for your dad, bro. And let me share this, Zulu. Thank God you have a father. We got 70% single mother household. Let's talk about that. That's more important to me than anything else right now. The fact that we got 5% of the world's population, but we got 25% of the incarcerated people and 32% in state prisons are black people. In federal prisons, black men make up nearly 38%. Let's talk about that, Zulu. That's the real 911 in my community. I live in West Baltimore. That's what we seeing. Cats ain't really worrying about Olmec heads and Indigenous or Moorish or Hebrew Israelite. Cats worrying about trying to eat.
I got one for you too. Let me throw one in for him.
Look at that nose though, bro.
I'm looking at the situation
That's
that we're in.
Boyd nose. Pleptoid.
No. Look at the nose and look at the lips. And the Mexican guy's
Come
gonna
on,
claim it.
bruh.
What Mexican guy looks like that?
Come on, bruh.
Show me one today that looks like that. I can show you 50 people in my family that got cheeks like that. Fat face, pug
Nobody
nose.
disrespecting you, Zulu. I appreciate your feedback, but we still see one day, Zulu, you're 43. There's people younger than you that might feel that way about you.
Oh yeah. No, my
It don't
son.
take long.
My son is 28. He know what Zulu talking, and you know goddamn well he know everything we talking. Everything.
Mr. Rizzo, Mr. Rizzo, Mr. Rizzo, look at that nose. You see that? That's called pleptoid. Pleptoid. Look at that nose, bruh. And there was a reason for that nose. It was for the god daggone heat, bruh.
Look for the heat, yes.
Ain't nobody trying to steal your identity, man. Look, you know what? Now you done made me mad. Now you done made me mad.
That's what it is. Look at that face. He's stealing some identity. You don't look like that.
That's not him right there.
That's an African face.
I'm saying the man in the pictures.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know. I'm just saying him personally. He know what he looks like. Look at that. That man right there in the picture is just there to compare size. What the problem is that we are so scattered, so successfully scattered as a people, where you talking what you talking, we talking one thing, and we don't have this common thing that we can talk about. See, the one thing that we all have in common is our African heritage. It shows in my face, my blood, your blood. Yes, we've been some places. Your boy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. They call him Greek. His brothers, they got Greek names and stuff, but they're Nigerian. Their parents were born in Nigeria. They're African. The one thing we do have in common is our African heritage. It's called nationalism. That's how the white man ruled the world. He separates you and have you pull for your nation. And that takes your numbers and dwindles your numbers down. He's done that in every country he's gone to. He did that in India. Today, India is broken up based on religion and culture. And it was done by the British government. Everywhere they've gone, even China. And that's why China kicked their asses out. Excuse my language. That's why China kicked them out. Excuse my language. It's divide and conquer. Have people not all think as one.
I'm glad we're having this discussion and we're having it civil, and it's lots more civil than it has been. Rob, you know what these paintings are?
These paintings. Let me look.
They look familiar to you?
Man, they look like they could be Zulu. They look like they could be Ethiopian.
No. I'm gonna try another one.
Remember, I'm looking at a phone. I'm not on a computer.
I do not pretend to know it all. And we're all just learning. That's what we're doing. We're all learning. Research is something. You're bound to learn something. But thank you for at least entertaining this conversation. Bam, one more for you. Those are Mayans.
Oh, I just opened my screen up. Wow. Incas, Mayans.
I don't mean no harm, but they look black to me.
I'm not gonna I'm not I'm gonna leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Because
We do that to you.
the Mayans are still there. They didn't disappear. There's still people are still there. Still in South America, still in Mexico. They're still there. They're just, and they're looked at and called indigenous. See, a lot of Mexican guys, they won't be honest with you and tell you that they mix with European. They white too. You know, not all of them are purely indigenous. You know, I mean, it's just like Latino. Latino is a culture. It's not a race.
Mississippi Mounds. Now here you go. Mississippi Mounds, and of course you know what about the mound pyramids, the Mississippi mound builders.
Yes, I've been there.
Many brown-skinned Americans have Polynesian blood. It's hidden. America before Columbus had many mixed race cultures. We never asked what was going on in America in 1200 and 1100.
I do believe that the Polynesians reached the west coast of the Americas. I do believe that.
California.
But check this out. The Polynesians, they're Africans. The Polynesians got to the Pacific Rim during the second migration.
King
Not the
Kamehameha.
first, the second migration.
King Kamehameha, King of Hawaii. You familiar with him?
Was that the king that wound up giving up Hawaii? I thought that was his daughter. I think her name was Luea. She was the last person who was of royalty in Hawaii.
Jose,
I mean, it's a shame. I feel sorry for the Hawaiians. Hawaii is not the United States. Hawaii is Polynesia. It was stolen.
Jose,
Hawaii is stolen land.
And I forgive me for pronouncing. I want to say Jose, but it's Josu Rizzo. Could it be that the slave trade existed from Africa to America since before? Yeah, that very much could be so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me differentiate a little for them too. The 50 million African Americans in the United States, we descend from 370,000 Africans that were stolen from Africa and taken to North America. So North America at its height only had 370,000, really was 350,000. The other 20,000 kind of came up through the Caribbean. Now I get this number and I get this quote from Gates, Henry Louis Gates. And that's just to give you an example of why Brazil is so powerful. There were 370,000 Africans taken from Africa to North America. We now make up 50 million people. But there were 5 million people, Africans taken to Brazil. Brazil is the blackest country, the second blackest country in the world next to Nigeria.
Yeah, Robbie. The Spanish were the Portuguese. They were certainly in South America. Yes, there was a lot going on. You could get in ships. Let's not forget ships. They go from West Africa right into South America. Those were not the only black people in Brazil. There were black people in Brazil, just like there were black people.
I didn't say that. I think you just misunderstood what I said.
Okay, well,
we've been coming to the Americas for way before the white man did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a guy with Columbus. His name was
And
Augustus Nina.
mm,
He was the captain of the Nina. The Nina, the Santa Maria, the Nina. Augustus Nina was a black man. And he
let's just
showed Columbus how to get there because he had already been there before. Columbus wrote about the ships that had African people that were coming back when he was on his way there.
all of
Africans
the
have been going to the
inhabitants
Americas
in
forever.
that area one race.
But
Just as
the
half-assed or
Portuguese,
purposely
when
edited
they embraced
information
slavery, the
to set
Portuguese took
one
5
specimen
million
off.
Africans over as slaves. And when they got there, there was Africans that was already there, but they took 5 million over there as slaves. I have a
But
student right now who's from Brazil.
Mississippi Mounds, that could be said of the bones found anywhere, can it?
What did he say?
Essentially, that because an archaeologist makes a find, a generalization can't be drawn from it. And that is, I would agree with that. But at the same time, you know, how do we know what's being reported? I think a lot of times that brings us something
But you missing something. You said an archaeologist makes a find.
finds a
Then
skeleton,
they
tests
do
one specimen, and
then they do
decides that all of
tests.
the inhabitants in that area are one race. That's going a bit far. I think you can certainly deduce that some of the inhabitants of that area are a particular race. I mean,
Look,
that's kind of jumping the ball, but
tell them about Shake Out the Diop.
well,
Shake Out the
we
Diop
got to agree
developed the
from the
melanin
trees, though.
drop test. It's a very easy test to find out the quantity of melanin in anything. Animal, plant, anything that has melanin in it. And they test those. When they find those kind of things, they're not just going to say this, that, or that. They're going to test them.
Amen.
Scientific
We have historical
empirical.
documentation show black-skinned people in America way before Europeans ever came here. Now he's going to show me the Spanish documents at this point from the Spanish explorers.
Oh my God, that's the last people you wanted. In the line is, look, if you're going to show me the European stuff, I can show you anything.
Well, let's talk about that. The British,
show
we
you
know,
anything.
we know that the British wanted to erase the history altogether. We do know that the
Right.
Spanish tended to share a little more information than we would get at all from the British. The only thing is in Spanish, so you got to take it out and get it translated using what, Google or your Chat GPT. And then there's also the French and their influence. And I guess
They were all imperialists.
Yeah, that's the common denominator.
They were all imperialists. They were all, everything about all of them was evil.
Yeah,
they were
but
trying to see what they could exploit people for.
Let's put this also out there. Who is the first person that a descendant of slavery should be mad at?
Who is the first person that a descendant of slavery should be mad at? Well, that's a loaded question because it sounds like somebody who wants to say, well, black people sold black people into slavery too. That sounds like some dumb shit. Excuse my language. That sounds like that kind of stuff.
Well, that's that dumb shit. My dad said, he said the first person you need to be mad at are those greedy kings who sold black people into slavery.
But some of those kings weren't selling because of greed. Some of them were selling because of protection of the core.
I'm not justifying. You sold me. You're my enemy.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
my enemy.
I'm just saying.
I'm with the young people on that. You sold me.
Well, let me give you my
think
answer.
about doing anything. I ain't gonna lie.
But let me give you my answer to that.
People on that. Hold up. First place you need to send me a check is the Congo. If that's where my lineage is, yeah, I need some stacks.
All right. Well, let me tell you my answer to the question that you asked. The person that you're supposed to be mad at was the first person that would use gunpowder against a human being.
I did not know, son of Judah, that King Solomon had a fleet that came to America. What right now, me and my friend are looking up information on being in America's. Did King Solomon's fleet visit America? Oh, okay. So that's the name of a book William Dan can bring. We love the books. We love the books. All right, so let's put this out there, Robbie. The title of this show is Indigenous, MOOR, Hebrew Israelite. Where do we go from here? Suppose you're all three. Suppose you got indigenous roots. Suppose you got MOOR.
We all of that. We
you
all
got
of that,
Hebrew
man.
Israelite. Now what do we do? Now that we know this, what do we do?
We're all of that. Now, you know what we're trying to find? You know, we just found out that the idea was to separate us. Have us thinking over here one way, over there one way, over here one way, and not realize that we're dealing with somebody who's disappearing from the earth as we speak. All we've been doing is multiplying through everything they've put us through. If you Google, since your people are listening, they can go ahead and do this. If you Google, what is the percentage, the percentage globally of white or European people in the world globally, it will let you know that in 1903, 34.5% of the population globally was European. By 1960, that 34 went to 28%. As of 2023, 2 years ago, that percentage is 13.2%. White folks make up 13.2% of the global population today. And the reason why they're acting the way they're acting with this white supremacy stuff, Trump and the MAGA stuff, is that they see that their numbers are dwindling. So they're starting to send people out of the country. They're starting to deport people. And they're hard on the Latinos. Oh, my God. Y'all were the ones who were their best, closest friends.
There are white people who seemingly are about that life. You can't say all white people.
Or about what?
That all white people trying to deport you.
No, I didn't say all white people. What we're talking about is we're talking about really conservative whites. 2025 was
and that's
all
the thing.
about.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You want to hear something mind blowing? I'm just telling them the truth, y'all. The next thing I know when we're doing this interview, and this is kind of where things like, why would you do that? The dude that I was interviewing on this very topic asked, he did a poll. He said, how many of you are Trump supporters? He was a Trumper. That blew my mind. Right there, that was like a standing knockout punch.
You see what Trump's doing right now? A black guy. Is he on? Is he on now? Bring him on.
Days after that broadcast, they wiped out 5 congressional districts in Texas.
And
I don't know what black people celebrate that. I don't know them black people. I don't know them. I don't want to know them.
That's a young thing. That's a young thing.
I don't know what it is.
Because I had a young guy tell me, young Republican told me that I didn't know how to think out of the box. I was doing all of the old stuff. Now, that's what a young guy told me, and it kind of sounds like what I've been hearing tonight, but I'm going to leave that alone. But let me go to this. Let me go back to 2025, because that's the Trump stuff, right? 2025 was based on an article called 2045. 2045, you can pull it up now. You can go to Google. It was what they were saying that it was in 2045, the sum total of conservative whites we're going to be outnumbered in this country, going to be outnumbered by the sum total of non-whites and liberal whites, and that they would have problems putting people in office that they would want to have in office. They figured that that was going to happen in the year 2045, but it wound up happening when Obama went in office. The knee-jerk reaction to a black president was a racist, Trump. And it's all about the numbers, voting. Notice, he's saying they doesn't want anybody to mail-in vote. It's called voter suppression because their numbers are going down. And always, Democrats outnumbered Republicans forever. Still does. The problem is that Democrats don't vote. Many of the young ones don't vote. They did get up when they beat Obama, when Obama beat Trump. The age of 21 to 34, that's where he said that there was that they cheated. Where these votes come from? These votes were already there. They were already registered. They just never voted in the past. But what they wanted to do was get Trump's self out of there.
Here's my question for Zulu. Let me just throw this in for
Go ahead.
Zulu. Let's remove America from the conversation. Why don't said Africans claim they're black people in Ireland, Australia, Rome, and these other countries if we all the same? Why don't they want us all? Where do you get this victim line of questioning, Zulu, as if somebody owes you something? Because a question posed to me in the show that was really popular, is what did Africa do for me? I didn't ask Africa to do anything for me. I know, am I looking to Africa to do it? That's already been done. That rhythm that we got. I mean, it's obvious. If you do any traveling outside of the United States and you see a black person, sooner or later, that rhythm, you're going to see that rhythm all over the world. It's the same rhythm. Get out. Get a passport.
What about the cell phone, Donnie? Colton.
You can't make
It's
it
a
without
black
Africa.
substance. It only exists in the Congo. What did Africa do for you? It's got you on a cell phone that wouldn't exist if it wasn't there. And a whole lot of mineral resources that they're just raping. Well, they were. 3 countries have gotten together. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. They cut all deals, rewrote them all. They're building infrastructure.
Great point.
They got military. And I'm telling you, what's going to happen when the Congo does it? All the resources that the Congo has.
Here's the question for Zulu. What do you want from Africa? I mean, if you notice, Africa is 54 different countries. They're trying to get organized. They had Muammar Gaddafi coming up with one currency for the entire continent. He got assassinated. I brought up on the show that, the other show about Captain Ibrahim Traore and what he's doing in Burkina Faso. As a matter of fact, that's a part of the title of my next book, Black Blueprint, Baltimore to Burkina Faso. I've always loved Africa. I don't want it. I just want to see, maybe I've just seen too much of the work of Leon Sullivan with the African-American summits that he did in Harare, Zimbabwe. Maybe I've just talked to too many people like Corey, my brother down in New Orleans, who's doing work in Africa. His grandfather's in Morocco. Mike Haney's doing work in Kenya. Frazier Mathis, Corey's father, he's doing work in Tanzania. Maybe I just know too much about people doing things there to see it any other way.
Donnie, what's going on in France these days with the economy?
Yes, we agree. What other group of
They're
black people
they're
have
damn near bankrupt in
it?
France. What's going on with the country of France? Almost bankrupt
They
because
should
3 of the
be.
countries that used to pay them
Yeah, have bucked on them. That's
stopped paying
important to
them.
know, Zulu. That's important to know. It's important to know that they're bucking on the same country that Haiti bucked on. I want to know that history. I want to know the significance of the Haitian Revolution.
Toussaint Louverture.
Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henry Christophe, and the Jamaican that helped them, Bukiman. I want to know that history.
You got to know your history.
I want to know that history. Right now, the AU and the EU are in negotiations about how to spend Black American dollars. Okay, Zulu, so what you going to do about it? What are you going to do, Zulu? What are you going to do, Zulu? Yeah, we don't, Kevin. We agree on this, and we're having a very civil conversation. I appreciate it. Zulu, I'm proud of you, bro. I hope to meet you in person one day. Same thing. And we got a lot more things we agree
Where
on.
does Zulu live?
Where you
Zulu
live,
from?
Zulu? You want to put your city out there? Spaniards, Hispanic. And let's not go to war over what other people's words and stuff are, Where do we go from here? Don't know where you and yours are going, but me and mine are preparing to go home to Africa. Respect. I think we all should have a backup plan. Not that and there's a part. Here's a story. Tiger Davis shared it on the show about James Forten, Forten, Black millionaire, free, indigenous, no history of slavery in his family, from what I understand. Black man in Philadelphia, Revolutionary War, and he was a patriot. Now, he ended up buying the sale company and had employees, not just Black employees, but white employees. But the beef was beef, if you will. The generational argument, his son wanted to go back to, that was at a time when people were going to Liberia and to Sierra Leone. His son was for that, they called it emigration. His son was for the emigration movement. James Forten was like, hell no, he's a patriot. He said, I'm staying here. Not much different than, maybe they both were right. Maybe Zulu is right and we are right. I'm open to that. I'm open to learn, Zulu. And I like your name. Shaka Zulu is one of my heroes. I don't understand how you're gonna have Shaka Zulu. You got the warrior's name. You got one of the most well-known anti-colonialist fighter as a name, but you don't like Africa. I mean, what's up with that, Shorty?
I'm telling you.
Putting your politicians.
You know what Shaka used to do? Shaka would give you an escape route. And if you took it, you took it. He would give you an escape route. If you wanted to live, you could take that escape route. If you wanted to die, if you was going to die fighting, you was going to die fighting with Shaka. But he would always give his opponent an escape route.
I know when I watched that movie of Shaka Zulu, when they was waxing the British across that South African landscape, it was like watching the Cowboys and the Indians. No, I'm not Kemet TV, and that's because I know the true history of the Zulu nation. Okay, you please share something, Zulu, so I can better understand. I'm open to learn. Zulu After Dark, I'm assuming you're FBA, and I had to go and, you know what FBA is, Robbie?
No.
It's a new term out. Let me not mess it up. Sometimes I can remember, sometimes I can't. No. Somebody's gonna put it up there. Here we go. Foundational Black Americans. That's a new term. You have learned a new term, Robbie. And I am proud to teach, to be a part of you learning a new term.
Oh, foundational Black Americans. Wow.
You didn't know about this?
I'm glad that's out there. I don't know if anybody would say that about me, but yeah, we'll take that.
Don't let me. I'm just pulling this off of Google. So anybody got a better one, I'm all open to it. We are learning here, and again, I appreciate the civility.
You know what's the trip? You know how much I teach kids, and I have a whole bunch of young people. I got 36 mentees. What's the trip is seeing where young people are trying to pull themselves away and try to say, you're this, you're that, you're doing this, you're doing that, when I'm probably like one of the most open-minded people you could come across, but you got to bring facts. You can't come at me with no conspiracies. You got to come with facts. Support it with facts.
Here you go. FBA, Robbie. You've learned this on. Okay, stands for Foundational Black American, term used to refer to Black Americans whose ancestry is directly tied to the descendants of formerly enslaved people in the United States.
That's me all day long.
It distinguishes them from other Black people in the U.S. who may have arrived more recently from Africa or the Caribbean.
No, I'm foundational. I'm FBA. I'm straight up FBA. Ain't nothing to lie about. Ain't nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, when people put handles on you and put terms on you, whatever.
And foundational, in a way, it's divisive.
It is very divisive.
But I get it.
It is, yeah. It's divisive.
We got the same damn enemy.
It's exactly what white folks want you to do. They want us to do this. They want us not to come together and braid. They want us to be like this.
They enslaved you in Haiti and them in Puerto Rico and you in Jamaica. But so y'all different.
Right. When people say Africans don't like y'all, I'm like, you know what? They just as messed up in the head too.
Let's have that conversation.
They dealt with colonization. What's worse than being enslaved at your own house, on your own land, where people took your land and put you outside in the worst part? It's terrible. And I'm not going to make one over the other because I don't separate us. We're all one. We've had different experiences, and we're dealing with the same person who's disappearing. They're at 13.5% of the population now. And if you don't take that into consideration, you won't understand why they're making these drastic moves.
So here's this brother's name. I saw Tariq, and the guy was slamming him on the show. I was unaware of some of the things people had said about him. I think he did a joint on the Moors, and I liked it. I learned a lot from it. I was glad he did it. It wasn't my first introduction to the Moors, but I was glad he did that. But apparently he may have done some other things that some people do not agree with. The eyes are useless if the mind is blind.
What did he say about the Moors that they didn't like?
No. It wasn't that content. That's what I know him from. But apparently,
okay. Gotcha.
That's what the accusation was. I don't have an opinion one way or the other because I don't know enough to even have an opinion. He claims Africans and Caribbeans are tethering off of Black people. He claimed that's why Black Americans need to distinguish themselves from Africans and Caribbeans. Well,
excuse me. That is the most ignorant. That is the most ignorant statement that could be made. He's also playing into the hands of the enemy. That's the more divisive, separating us. And Black American, come on, man, that's fit. You break us down to only 50 million people when we're part of 1.3 billion on the continent and probably as much as 500 million in the diaspora. Why would you break our numbers down? That is so ignorant. That's exactly what they want us to do. Go like this, divide, be divisive. No, we need to be talking about things and coming together. Find the things that we have in common, not the things that we don't have in common. Because what we have in common is enough to bound us and keep us bound. We have the same enemy. We have the same struggle. Some of us just have more money. Some of us have more education. Some of us have more opportunity. And some of us have more fight in us. But we still all the same. And we need to hold each other up.
Special thank you to Dr. Tyrone Taborn, founder of STEM City USA. This show is being broadcast in the metaverse. Oh, there you go.
Thank you, my brother.
Cali Foundation is COINTELPRO. These are some things you didn't know about, huh, Robbie? It's rather
COINTELPRO? I didn't know about COINTELPRO?
No, you missed COINTELPRO in the same conversation with FBA.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever had that conversation before in your life?
No.
Because you just hearing this term, foundational Black Americans.
It makes sense. It's just like when my son told me, come on, Dad, you capping. I'm like, I'm capping? Oh, you saying I'm lying? I'm telling a lie. Okay, you just have to figure out the terminology. Today, you're capping. Back in the day, you was lying your butt off.
So help me out with this. Zulu has the presumption. How is there an African diaspora without Black American input? I never heard that Black Americans were. I just told you that Reverend Leon Sullivan out of Philadelphia had the African American Summit for 8 years in Harare, Zimbabwe. How is that? Come on, Zulu. Come on, Shaw. I mean, come on now. That's
just depression, man. Something got him depressed.
Well, the original Europeans were Black. But yeah, the Moors did dominate Spain for 800 years. Yep. Ferdinand and Isabella, they got, once they kicked the last Moors out of Spain, out of the Alhambra, and the Moors started fleeing.
The Moors built the University of Salamanca in Spain, and it's still there. A university that still exists. One of the oldest universities in the world, Salamanca.
We should all be proud. It's not like any of us had a choice of how we were born. So at the end of the day, what kind of person are you? And I'm all for standing up for the culture. Brenda Bennett. I've been looking for you, Brenda. History changes year after year. There's a new theory that all humans now come from one person, but two. Maybe they will say three soon. So now that you know who you are.
They try to talk about the Eve gene, that we all carry that genetic marker for the Eve gene from this, this person called Eve, which could easily be true. And what it was is that she wasn't the only human at the time. She was just one of the ones whose gene survived through all kinds of stuff that was going on when the population had fallen. There were other people around, but this particular woman, Eve, her gene made it through the pool to us.
I totally agree with that. It was right after the Moors left that they got on the ships. They followed the Moors. Pedro Nino Alonso led them to this part of the world.
Yep.
Brenda's on a roll. Thank you all for your comments, and thank you for the civil conversation. This is Robbie. I gotta thank you, Robbie. for taking this trip with me down to look at these concepts. And you know, I know you've been busy, but I'm glad you were able to steal away. These are just some of the comments. Yeah, I'm talking about non-Indigenous to Mexico. So anyway, any final thoughts, Robbie?
No.
And thank you all again for a civil conversation. Mississippi Mounds, even Australians recognize Africa as distant cousins. Well, yeah, they come from there.
Right. Definitely. Absolutely. Everybody comes from Africa.
This has been a pretty civil conversation, Robbie. Again, special thank you to Tyrone Table and STEM City USA. They help us keep the lights on. They help us pay the bills. First indigenous people to the Americas were Africans. Yeah.
Yes, I like that. I like that one.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave that as a final comment.
Yeah, and Dr. Runoko Rashidi did. I mean, he dedicated a whole lot of his work to that.
Respect to everyone, and we're proud of whoever you are, whatever race you come from, wherever you're from, whatever your people. Just be a good person and be nice to somebody. You never know who might save your life. You never know. You never know who might save your life. So be nice. If we are truly of the motherland, then we have certain spirituality. And that's a beautiful spirituality that, you know, knows that God's light, the sunshine shines on all of us. So be nice. But don't let nobody hurt you. So give us a call. We might have to come out there. Good evening, world. And thank you, Robbie.
Take it easy.